Welcome, my friends, to my second stream, and welcome all of you. Today, we are going to look at many things. We will be reading many interesting things. So, welcome everyone, and we are probably going to start with. Let me share the reading mode. Here we go. The reading mode is on. So, I have figured out the three deep articles that we can probably look into today. And this is the first one. What future technology are you cautiously optimistic about? The second one, should there be a legal talk to human button before AI customer service becomes the default? And the third one is related to life. It is not related to technology. Life should not be primarily structured around work. So this is the third article. This is technically not article. These are Reddit posts. So we are going to read these three Reddit posts one by one and see how it goes. Before moving forward, I want to do something. I want to check my audio because I don't have a big enough audience that audience can tell me right now. So I have to do that myself. So wait a minute. Okay. Let me just check my audio is working or not. Okay, so my audio was fine, but my vertical stream was not on. So let me repeat, guys, for my vertical stream viewers, that today we are going to look into these three Reddit posts. The first one is, what future technology are you cautiously optimistic about? The second one is about AI and should there be a legal talk to human button before AI customer service becomes a default? And the third one is about life. It is nothing to do with technology. Life should not be primarily structured around work. So these are the three articles that we are going to read for my vertical stream viewers. Horizontal ones, I'm sorry for repetition. So, let's start. Uh, so let me start with this one. Life should not be primarily structured around the work. This looks like a reasonable argument. Okay, here we go. Uh, Seems like something that should be a common knowledge, that life should not be primarily structured around the world around work. So let's read this. Let me have a water, friends. Let's start. Deep thoughts. Life should not be primarily structured around world. Okay, I read it wrong. Let me read it again. Life should not be primarily structured around work. I mean, since when has society conditioned us to believe that finding meaning in life necessarily depends upon making a wise career choice? That's a fair question. That's a fair question. I don't know when that happens. I mean, it was already conditioned when I was born, I guess. So I was just born into this. Even starting a family seems to be co opted by capitalism to perpetuate the workforce. That's true. People think they are going to become materially wealthy, whereas, excuse me, let me read this. People think they are going to become materially wealthy, whereas what they need above all is to be emotionally wealthy. Well, okay, we will see about that. My personal take is that what should be the main purpose of living is to deeply connect both with yourself and others around you. What do you think? I I I think that's fair, but no one wants to connect with you if you don't have a money. That's the reality of today. But let's read what the people are saying in the comments. And which is wrong, by the way, what I just said before this. Of course, it is wrong. And of course, this take is a noble take. But yeah, unfortunately, conditioning is so deep that everything is about money. Therefore, everything is about capitalism. Let's see, 100% agree. Okay. I think that's fair, short and sweet, 100% agree. Of course, like no one is going to disagree with this. And I think the title suggests life should not be primarily structured around work, but the description has much more depth in it, you know. So we are talking about connecting with people, we are talking about emotional wealth, and the title is about work. So, like, you know, description is saying more about the question, where this question is coming from. However, I would like to say that 100% agree. Of course, I agree with life should not be structured around work. Um, my personal take is that what should be the main purpose is deeply connect. Both, I would certainly argue that not all people around you are worth connecting with. So, yes, firstly, you should try to deeply connect with yourself. You should know who you are. You should know, and you should have some originality. You should have figured out things based on your life and experiences. You should, try to be original. And by original, I don't mean just do what others are. I mean, by original, I don't mean that you do the opposite of what other people are doing always. I mean, there is a good reason why people do certain things in certain ways. So you don't have to tell them out loud that they are wrong, but then you also have to go and figure out who you are and what do you stand for. So you definitely have to connect with yourself. I am not so certain about connecting with all the other people around you, maybe some people around you that you would like to connect with. And despite people think they are going to become materially wealthy, whereas what they need above all is to be emotionally wealthy. I want to say that it's like, if you cannot be, I mean, you need some amount of money so that your basic needs are getting taken care of. Without that, I don't think so you will ever be emotionally stable. And money actually plays a very important role in our lives. And I think at this point, it is probably more important than it should be. And we somehow have to live through this time, where we are facing this problem. However, let's move on. Let's read and try to understand, I mean, what other people think about it. Scammer, scammer. Okay, let me use. Okay. So let's move on. And the problem is that authorization. Okay, let's see. Um, the problem is that authoritarian overachieves are allowed to push society to this nonsense. Okay. I don't really want to blame anyone specific because I don't think, I think we have to first introspect. But let's I mean, this certainly is a problem, but let's read more. Those authoritarian overachievers have had no such effect on me because I have made a decision to not allow to them. Yes, that's fair, and that's a very good point. I think that's how it should be. Let's read more. I wish it was easy as saying that you don't want to play their game, but it takes a small fortune to experience true freedom in the USA. I think it is everywhere the same. Would you be so kind to explain what you mean by true freedom here? Perhaps I share my perspective. That would be helpful. Okay, let's move on. I think there's some truth to that. The people who define success usually end up shaping what everyone else shares, but at the end of the day, we still get to decide whether we buy into it or not. That's true. I mean, I don't, I mean, we still get to decide. Let's focus in this sentence. We still get to decide whether we buy into it or not. I don't agree with this. Let's ask Grok what Grok thinks about this comment. I think there is some truth to that the people who define success usually end up shaping what everyone else chases. But at the end of the day, okay, let's try to ask Grok about this. Here is my Grok screen, everyone. Uh, I think let me go into the voice mode and let's speak with Grok to see what AI thinks about this. It's probably not a good idea, but let's do it anyway, right? Because we have to try out Grok. It is still connecting. Maybe let me just do it directly rather than a voice note. Let's try to connect again. Grok is taking too much time. I cannot wait this much. Let me just ask in the text mode. I saw this comment on Reddit. How would you rate this comment? Let's see. Is it true that we get to decide our opinions? I am, of course, paraphrasing a little bit. I would rate this comment as a solid 8.5 out of 10. Okay. It is thoughtful, balanced, and gets at something very important. Oh my god, Grok gave me literally essay, guys. Grok has given me essay, but let's read it. Biology, we can decide. Okay. I agree with Grok. What just I just want to add one thing on it is most of the time when we are growing up, our opinions are almost made about everything by our parents and by people around us, and it is very difficult to get out of it. So we have to keep that in mind whenever we are trying to think about issues, because we want to think rationally about the things. And so, but you are looking for the information always that confirms your beliefs. So you have to just be careful about confirmation bias. And if you are able to get over it, then yes, you can decide and maybe change your views. But more or less, I think society is very successful in able to, give their views to you. So that's the one thing. It's special. Okay, let's read another comment. And who enables those authoritarians to have control over the rest of the society? I mean, okay. I don't know what does this word mean. Authoritarian overachievers. Let's ask Rock. Because this is a very confusing word, right? Very confusing word. Let me ask Rock about this. Okay, I mistyped the spelling of mean, but I think this tool is fine enough to figure this out. Okay, Grok has authoritarian overachiever is descriptive phase, not a super formal psychological term that combines two ideas. Overachievers, okay, we know what overachiever. Authoritarian refers to a controlling, rigid, hierarchical mindset. Authoritarian people value strict obedience, rules, order, and authority that often demand high standards. Put together, authoritarian overachiever describes highly successful, driven people who enforce strict standards, control, and narrow definition of success. Okay, so basically, we can say that they have a narrow definition of success. I think that would be fair to say in this context. Uh, I don't think I can add a note here, but anyways, let's see more comments. I totally agree 100%. Wise and good points. I have to remind myself all the time. Devil's advocate in my brain says 9 to 5 is a huge chunk of your time and life. And I would hope it's fulfilling personally and is beneficial. Or it's at least a neutral contribution to society and not harmful to people or the environment. So I do take care choices somewhat seriously for those reasons, but totally agree with you with your value alignment here. Okay. Work to live, don't live to work. Okay. Unfortunately, the people in the later category are the ones that end up running things and they convince regular people to hustle for them. I think times have changed. I think now the people are not able to do this. You know, I, this part of the sentence, this part of the comment. I think nowadays people are moving, are rising above this, and this is no longer happening. But yes, I think so. Here is the thing, if you are working with 10 other people in the office and your manager sees that three of them work extremely hard and seven of them don't work, and they have some amount of money to give to the people. So I think they would choose those three people who work hard. And this is unfortunate, but this is how it is. So let me see for a minute. Okay, let's go. We have turned into a society obsessed with money run by the people that worship it. Then we look at where we are connectivity, communications wise as a species, and that advertising has become psychological manipulation campaigns, and you get where we are at right now. I think it's not about money as much, it's about what money gets you. So it can get you the home, it can get you the respect, it can get you other form of things, and I think that's what it is about. Now yes, I do agree I mean, money has become just a some symbol of success at this point. I mean, the more money you have, the more successful you are. And I think we have to figure out as individually where to stop, and then we should stop at that point and do something meaningful. Because if you're chasing always after more, it is never ending thing because there is unlimited money in on this planet. There is literally a lot of money. Social media and media in general was the weapon that those in charge used to get us here. I agree with this. I think social media and media in general was the weapon that those. Okay, that seems a fair thing to say. But I think there is a one difference between social media and media, or maybe there was a difference. I think now they are basically the same thing. But in social media, the people are publishing, and in media was sort of a one few people deciding what they want to publish. But I think nowadays that traditional media has come into social media, and it has become a total mess now. So it is a very very bad state at this point, because these companies have a lot of money, and then they push what they want to say, and then basically everyone is stuck there. So that's one thing, like. Okay, so I am not using the reading mode. Here it is. Sorry, guys. So I was reading this comment. Okay. We are all responsible for coming to our own conclusions about life. I agree with this person. At some level, I think we have to blame ourselves. Just as we choose to comport ourselves in a certain way, we also choose to believe things that we are not told or that we learn. If anyone has conditioned you to think about things in this way, it was certainly your parents. Do you recall your mother and father having conversation with you when you were small about how important it is to have a good job so that you can have a security in your life? Do you recall, okay, as far as the decision whether to start a family has been co-opted by capitalism, there is a certain reality to life when one life is an organized society, needs money to purchase things like a house, pay taxes, and so on. Totally agree with this person. Intelligent, rational people usually do the math in advance and decide whether they have the resources necessary to raise a child. That's not most of the world is. That's just a common sense. I mean, I don't agree. I mean, no one is doing this, I think, properly. Only few people are doing it properly. As you probably know, there are millions of people in this country who have children who are not remotely prepared to do so, financially, emotionally, psychologically, and in other ways. I think, yeah, maybe they are not emotionally mature, but there is a age, there is a certain limit to when you can have a children. So I think that is racing with you. So you have to, like, at some point, you have to just make a decision. Capitalism has not stopped them from having children. Okay. I think, in a way, capitalism is stopping for a smart person here, like intelligent, rational people who do the math in advance. So they did the math, and the math didn't work out because of capitalism, right? Because everything has become so costly, so this math is not working out, so they decide not to have a children. So therefore capitalism has definitely indeed stopped few people from having children. It is just, I mean, it has stopped actually. So I think it is definitely stopping in some way, especially if you are intelligent and rational person, because you will think about a lot of things, right? Having once been married for many years and having raised my own two kids into adulthood, 20s and 30s, I have concluded that the purpose of life is to be instrument of peace, to love and support those in your life to whom you are closest, and to be of service to others to the extent one can. I think this is what the OP was saying. Will you reach a certain age, you discover that you cannot spread yourself too thin? No, it doesn't make sense to do so. Okay, cool. You are not born with a reason to live. That's something you find in your life. Okay, that's very epic. Let's highlight this. You are not born with a reason to live. That's something you find in your life. That's true. Though I'm sure people who base their self value on money do it because it's easier. God forbid they had to think about it, their brains might pop. Okay. There are more important things in life than work or having a lot of stuff. Says someone who is wealthy. Okay. First work life balance, I stepped down from a real high level management position and went back to doing what I really loved doing. Family. If you work 60 to 80 hour, hell, some weeks even 100 a week, family becomes secondary and you will regret this later in the life. Health. I became chronically ill. Okay. And I'm not saying money is not needed in the society, but there are more important things in life. Being definitely not solely depend on having a lot of money. Being happy is definitely not solely dependent on having a lot of money. Okay, let me check the chat. Being happy is definitely not solely dependent of having a lot of money. People with less money are most of the times even more happy if they have a meaningful life, a good family life, and a good health. And poverty is something we as a society must solve, especially children that didn't have an option and didn't cause the poverty. Since when has society conditioned us to believe that finding meaning in life necessarily depend on me? Okay, he's quoting that and he says since capitalism. I don't agree with this. Capitalism have has always been here. You sell things to buy things. You exchange goods from a very early age of human civilization. You give something, you take something. The issue happened when it became, I mean, I think in my opinion this is a very hard thing to say, but I think the issue happened when we had when when like for example, like I think basic needs should not involve money. For example, basic education, basic home, basic housing, and basic healthcare maybe should be available to people so that they can do something more. So, because their basic needs are covered, and as a society, we move forward. Um, but this is something in ideal world. Like we cannot. I mean, it's a very difficult topic to talk about. So let's talk about in some other stream. For now, let's focus. Let's completely read this article or this Reddit comments. Psychologically speaking, one couldn't feel emotionally well unless they were secure in the basic necessity of food, shelter, and clothing. Yeah, this is what I said, but totally agree. And that's how I have been living in my life. And I'm not wealthy. I have enough for me to pursue my hobbies and passions, including traveling overseas to take time out from work beside experiencing and learning new things. Okay. So if you can take time out from work to travel overseas, I think you are somewhat wealthy. Not a lot of people are able to do that. Okay. So let's read again. Me thinks you are right. Why, you may ask, is because if you look back at ancient history, humans are actually built for community, hunting and gathering. Yeah. See. Okay. Why am I still here? Everyone has their own roles, their own separate talents, their own specialties to promote. The greater good of humanity. We have it backwards right now by being so stringly and every man for himself. That's, I think, yeah, that's like somehow, I mean, this is very true. This also ties into inspiration being tied into basically lining up your meta values with your genuine talents. That's true. Who are you at your core when you are not listening to others? I actually have a free newsletter or Substack about this where I deliver into this and connect some dots. Link in bio if you're curious. Okay. I can check out after this stream. Did you know that people's surnames once come from their jobs? Yeah. The average, okay, so basically he's saying that it is about work, basically. I mean, this person is making this argument that life is about work. Uh, I sort of don't, I mean, I completely don't agree with this. Disagree 100%. Yes, maybe at some party, I mean, for someone, I mean, this is true, but I think we don't have to live like this. The average human lives around 4,000 week. The first 1,000 is with mom and dad and attending school. The next 3,000 is just going to us. Seems like a pretty shitty deal to me. That's true. And don't forget about the time when you are old and you are not going to work and you don't have a parents and you don't have anything basically and you're just old and you can't do anything. That's also one part of your life. I mean, and that's a horrible part of your life. So you have to basically like your 20s 30s 40s and 50s, I think you should do what you can do and what you would enjoy. I think that's the time. You cannot do anything in your 60s. While a profession cannot define life, it has significantly impact on it. Yeah, this is because the profession is associated with wealth, social status, power, and dignity. I think we all know this. Nothing new about this at all. I agree to a point. Work is important because we all need to pay the bills, but it should not be the thing that defines our whole life. The moments I remember most are usually time with people I care about, not the hours I spent working. I think I don't even remember the hours I spent working like on weekends. Like I cannot recall what I worked on. I mean, I remember like some glances of it where I did something challenging and I solved some problem. Maybe I remember that part of it, but I don't remember work as like, I don't think of it as a found memory and that I should, now wait a minute. So I don't think of the work as a found memory that I enjoy and I cherish. It was just like a, part of my job. And job is part of my life, but it is sort of, like empty. I mean, you remember some parts of your job when you did something challenging, when you solved some problem, you will remember those parts, and those parts will have a good impact on you. Those parts will make you who you are when you are solving some challenging thing. However, it's like, most of it is like useless meetings and working with people that you don't like, or even like sometimes you like and sometimes, I mean, most of the times you're just working because you have to work. And some people are just like, when they are working, they will not even go and say hello. I think we should treat each other nicely in work. I think that way you can have a work environment which is at least not toxic for you, which is at least brings some sanity in you, and you are not upset when you're going to work. I mean, one office I worked in, everybody was sad that they are working here. And I think that is not a good state to be in. During large amount of your time, work is basically your every waking hour, maybe minus 4 hours out of that, because work is like 8 to 9 hours, right? In a formal job. The Okay, let's read more. Let's go. The purpose may be connection, but the method of staying alive to work, whether for your own sustenance or for money to pay others to be the work you would otherwise have to be alone. Okay. Okay, I don't know which language is this. I agree 100%. However, I think more or less like everybody is agreeing. Let's read his comment. Okay. Okay. So I think we are done. We have read all the comments, and I'm more or less, everyone agrees with this. And I think it is not even a point of discussion. It should not be all about work, especially the work we do in 2026. It's, I can argue that it is mostly not that meaningful. But if you are, for example, a writer, by all means, if you are an artist, even if you are a life should not be about only work, but if you do your work properly, you might get some meaning out of your work. So don't hate your work. That's what I would say. Maybe you don't love your work. That's okay. But don't start hating your work. I think that's not a good place to be in. So if you are in that place, maybe change your job, or maybe, because if you think about it, work is a very big part of your life. So you should not hate your work. You can hate your boss. That's totally fine. I mean, I'm not saying to not hate your boss. You can do that, but you should not hate your job. You should not, when you're working, you should not think, oh, I hate this. You should, you should have a mindset, okay, this is a job and I'm doing the job and I'm doing as good as I can. And along the way, if you have a good relationship with the people you are working with and with your boss, that's a very good thing. But at least do not hate your job. Okay. But yes, it is not about, do not structure your entire life around work. You're working, you are having some money, you spend time with your children, spend time with your family, and spend time with whoever you love. So I think that's a good thing. Okay, so let me take some break. Maybe I will take a, give me 5 minutes. I will be back. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back. So, we read this article. Now, I'm going to read this. This is a very famous Reddit post. Should there be a legal talk to a human button before AI customer service becomes the default? And my answer is yes. My answer is yes. But let's read and see what other people are saying about this. I'm getting some warning in my stream. Let me check, guys. But I think my audio is fine. I checked. Let me hear. Give me 5 minutes. I will be back. Social. Okay, my audio is looking fine. I don't know why I'm getting warning. Anyways, let's read this. Should there be a legal talk to human button before AI customer service becomes the default? Amazing. My answer is yes. Let's read and see what people are saying. Okay, so this is basically an article. I'm not going to read the article. I think we all got the point of it, but this is the submission, the submission statement provided by OP, chess or checkers 2. Let's read the submission statement. However, I think we all know what it is about, so I'm just going to go ahead and read the comments. My answer is yes. I mean, it should be like, you should have an option to talk to humans. I would rather requirements that anything your customer service AI agent agrees to, you are beholder to honor, no clawbacks. I would rather requirements that anything your customer service AI agent agrees to, you are beholden to honor, no clawbacks. Yeah, but how do you do this? It's already like that in Canada. Only for the things big enough to sue over. I live near the 407 and Uber doesn't give an option to use it and doesn't. Okay. I think this is very. I rather have a customer service. I rather have a customer service like before mass layoffs and cost cutting measures were used as a norm saving requirements. I would rather have a customer service like before mass layoffs and cost cutting measures were used as a norm saving requirements. If it adds higher cost with more seats to be filled, I am glad to go back to the old model knowing someone human is taking notes and care within their service without multiple errors to be corrected. This only adds more labor and cost corporations more than savings and were promised. The only thing that I'm thinking about this is you have a customer service. You hire a bunch of people to do the customer service. You have to teach them how to do the customer service. And you have to teach them what is your product basically so that they can service the customer. And now you have a AI and you can teach the AI all the things. Like you can teach AI your product better than human. Is it true? I think in some cases this might be true. In some cases, I think AI customer service does make sense. In other cases, it does not make sense. For example, if you are dealing with some, you know, but here is the thing, AI always going to make a mistake after a while. Like, when you are, for example, if you're talking, if you have 50 messages back and forth with a customer service, I think AI has a high chances of making a mistake. Humans does also make a mistakes. Humans also make mistakes. I think it definitely boils down to how intelligent the person is in that context when compared to AI, and what human customer service can do that AI cannot do. And I think there are many things. So I mean, I don't want a situation where I'm talking with a human and human is putting what I'm saying into the chat prompt, and then AI responses and the human copy that response and give me that response. I think this situation is pretty bad. I mean, why? I mean, human is just working as a person who is translating, or basically who is in between you and the AI model. And in many of the cases, actually, the customer service have a script that they have to follow. I mean, they cannot give, and they have a script in the cases where they do not understand the product. So if you said thing A, they will say thing B. It is already programmed into them. So like it depends what specifically we are talking about, what is the product, what is the service, and so on. But yes, I think, for example, if you are talking with a bank, you would rather talk with a human. You don't want to talk with a AI customer service. I think this is the one example where I would like to talk with a human. Or if I'm talking for my medical health claims, I want to talk to a human. I am in emergency. I want to talk with a human who can understand the situation and who can act on it quickly, because humans would definitely have more access to your records than an AI. I'm assuming. And they can complete your claim much faster, especially if they have the experience of doing so. So yeah, in those cases, I definitely want to talk with a human. That would essentially be a ban. I support it. My grandmother used to work for Verizon and gave me free service for life. Please honor that. I can't do that. Please. Okay, your account now has free service for life. Okay, that maybe this can happen. I called my cell company the other day and it was ridiculous how I kept saying customer service and the AI kept asking me questions. In the end, it's said, I am having trouble understanding you. Let me get you to someone who can help. Okay. That's not my beef. It is one that tell you basically I'm having trouble understanding you. Please get your dash together and call back when you tell the AI what you need. Goodbye. Okay. Yes. AI could describe the problem you are saying. Could you describe the problem you are having? I can't log in. Try changing your password. I don't receive the email for the password change. Okay, let's look at this scenario again. AI, could you describe the problem you are having? Me, I can't log in. AI, try changing your password. Me, I don't receive the email for the password change. AI, what's your username? Me, Red Claw X. AI, can't seem to pull up your account. Me, let me talk to a real person. AI, could you describe the problem you are having? Exactly. This is the problem with AI. Human, I can't. Okay. So this person has given the counter examples. Human, I can't log into my Instagram account. AI, I have sent a password reset command to your registered email. Human, I can't use that email anymore. Use this one instead. AI, I have just reset a password change to your registered email. Human, you made a mistake. You need to send to the other email address we agreed upon above. AI, I see. I'm correcting my mistake and sending to the other email address. The scary part is that actually happened to a bunch of people. Oh my god, this is like your account is hacked. Meta AI chat confidently gave me incomplete information, conflicting instructions, and dead links for multiple sessions. I kept it in and finally got something that helped me. Insanely frustrating. Okay, that's deeply unsettling. I have a 23 email and response chain with Meta's WhatsApp support bot in my mailbox because every reply from it count as a new mail that is unrelated to the previous one. It goes like this. AI, could you describe the problem you are having? Me. My WhatsApp crashes within seconds of opening. The log shows core data database corruption. I need a human engineer to take a look at this. AI, I'm sorry to hear that. I recommend checking for device and WhatsApp updates, freeing up storage or installing and reinstalling the app. Me. I've already tried these steps and they don't work. This is a technical corruption issue that requires manual investigation. Please escalate this to an engineer immediately. I am the first point of contact for WhatsApp support. I am here to help. Have you tried deleting your iCloud backup? Me. Okay, this is a huge chat. I mean, is this chat generated by AI? I doubt that. I'm not going to read it is because it is not fun and it is not looking like any. Maybe this chat itself is generated by AI. Who knows? Last time I had to make a refund in food delivery app, they sent similar portion. It was obvious because they sent them in different containers. I had to chat for AI for 10 minutes, begging it to let me talk to a human because it was trying to convince me they couldn't do anything and nothing was wrong. Gave up, called the restaurant. The restaurant contacted them and got back to me saying the word refund me within 5 minutes. Okay. Just repeat escalate or agent over and over. Source, I work with these things. And if it's phone support, press 0, which is this triggers escalation. It's mandatory in certain areas. Okay. AI. What's your account number? Account hash. AI. What's your business name and address? Name and address. AI. What's your number, etc. Until we get to a point where the AI can't help and transfer me to a live agent. Live agent. What's your account number? Yeah. I just spent 10 minutes trying to I just spent 10 minutes trying to address my problem with your AI, and now none of the intro transfers to the live agent. That's cool. It's worse though. AI, what's your account number? Me gave the account number. Got 144. Is that correct? No, it's 14547. Okay. Please state your account number again. Me. I got it correct. Okay. I just I just keep saying I would like to speak with a representative no matter what AI asks. Sometimes it takes 3 to 4 times, which is scummy as but it takes work 90% of the time. But it does work 90% of the time. Okay. Okay. AI phone agents are worthless when you are actually need help. Okay. Yes. Am I the only one that experienced rage when being forced to talk to a machine? I've never had a Alexa or any crap like that. I despise voice interface, crap, AI support, and okay. I actually am the one who sometimes enjoys talking with AI. Let's ask Grok what Grok thinks about this thing. Uh, let's speak with Grok about this comment. Let me try to connect to in a voice mode. That's much more fun. I don't know why Grok is not able to connect to me. Okay, now I think it is what. Hi Grok, how are you doing? Okay, I don't hear it. Let me. Fortunately, I'm not able to hear the grok. Can you speak again? I'm not able to hear you. I'm not able to hear grok. Let us ask this comment to the grok, right?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. What's on your mind?
Hi grok, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. What's on your mind?
Here it is, the grok. Okay. So grok, thanks for joining me. I'm doing the live stream and I'm reading one Reddit post. And I read this comment. And I quote, Am I the only I am the only one that experiences rage when being forced to talk to a machine.
I actually
I
get
have
where
never
that
had
person's
Alexa
coming
or
from.
any
A
crap
lot
like
of
that.
people find
I
voice
despise voice
interfaces frustrating,
interfaces.
especially
Crap
when
AI
they're trying
customer
to get
support would
something
just
done
make me rage
quickly
even more.
and the
Since you
AI
are a
doesn't
AI, I'm
understand
asking
them
you
or
this
loops
question.
them in circles.
How do you feel
Rage
about
makes
this comment?
sense when a machine wastes your time instead of
I
helping.
actually
As
get
an
where that
AI
person's
myself,
coming
I
from.
don't
A
take it
lot of people
personally at
find voice
all. My
interfaces
goal is to be
frustrating,
useful, not
especially when they're
annoying.
trying to
So if
get
I'm ever
something done
getting in the
quickly
way, I'd
and the
rather you
AI
just
doesn't
tell me
understand them
straight.
or
What
loops them in
kind of
circles.
experiences have you
Rage
had with
makes
voice
sense when a
assistants that
machine
drive you
wastes your
up the
time
wall?
instead of helping. As an AI myself, I don't take it personally at all. My goal is to be useful, not annoying. So if I'm ever getting in the way, I'd rather you just tell me straight. What kind of experiences have you had with voice assistants that drive you up the wall?
Got it. Take your time. I'm right here whenever you're ready.
Okay, I will redo this part because I can see there is some issue with the audio.
I'm
So
ready.
I'm going to
Go
redo
ahead.
this part so that
Got it. Take your time. I'm right here whenever you're ready.
I'll be ready.
I'm ready.
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Go ahead.
Okay,
Good to
hi,
hear.
can you hear
Shall we
me?
continue from where we left off?
I think now it will be
I
fine.
get it. That rage is real for a lot of people. When you're already frustrated and a machine starts misunderstanding you or giving irrelevant
Okay,
answers,
so
it
let
just
me
piles
let
on.
I'm
Voice
pasting
interfaces can feel like they're
my
wasting your
comment what I
time instead
read,
of saving
and
it.
you give me
As
your
an
opinion
AI,
on
my
it.
whole point is to help, not add to the frustration. So if I'm ever doing that, just tell me straight.
Okay, I understand what you are saying, although I want to know I want to know your point of view as
I'm
AI,
programmed to be
and
both polite
I
and
also want
honest,
to
but
know
honesty comes
I also
first for
want to
me. I
understand,
won't sugarcoat things just to keep a
are you
conversation smooth.
programmed?
If something's
I
frustrating or
mean,
doesn't make
in this
sense, I'll say so
scenario, are you
directly.
programmed to be
Politeness is just
polite
the
or
wrapper, not the
honest?
priority.
Okay,
I'd
so the
politely
scenario
point
that I
out where they're
gave
wrong and
you about the
explain
customer
why without
service, and
being
I showed you
condescending.
the comment where human feels frustrated due to improper response. In that case,
That sassy grok
what would you
shows
do if
up
the
when you
customer
poke
is
me a
wrong?
bit. You want her? Keep talking to me. Okay, what? Spit
Okay,
it
okay,
out.
Grok. I mean, today you are talking very politely. Where is that sassy Grok? Okay. Okay, here we
Oh,
go.
so
So
you want the
talk in
unfiltered
this tone
version?
with that
Fine.
customer who gave
Look,
you
if
this,
talking to a machine makes you
who
rage,
is
maybe the
who
problem
is
isn't the machine. Ever thought
frustrated.
that
So
maybe your
give him this tone.
expectations
I
are
mean, how would
just
you respond to
unrealistic?
him
I
in
don't
this
exist
tone,
to coddle your
if you
temper
have to?
tantrum. Either tell me what you actually need or keep yelling into the void. Your choice.
Great, awesome. So I see Grok is, sometimes very direct of the things when you ask him to be. I like Grok for this reason. So it's your problem as per the Grok sassy version of the Grok. As per the sassy version of the Grok, it's your problem. Keep talking with a void. Okay, definitely not the only one. Okay. So I think all the people agree that yes, they would like to speak with a human whenever they get a chance. But think about it. I mean, think about it, my friends. Would human be that this sassy? Let me show you the grok. Okay, here you are. Would human be this sassy? Can human say this? Only grok can do it, I think. Okay. So this is the fun part of it. So of course, I mean, when you are in serious situation, you don't need fun. You need output. So in that case, we trust human. Okay, so I think I can say that, thanks for joining, and let's meet again. Let me check my streams. Okay. Okay. So I want to say thank you for joining me in this stream, and these are sort of I'm trying to figure out my instruments. I'm trying to figure out how everything is setting up, and then we will continue these streams in much more funny way in and we will